Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Toyota Corolla Nightshade, aka the Corolla TRD. I'll get into that in a little bit, but anyways, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Corolla, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to the Toyota here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Corolla. Check out the inventory in the link below. Let's get into the video. So under the hood here, we actually have a couple different engine options, a 1.8 liter four-cylinder, then a 2 liter four-cylinder. This one has the 2 liter four-cylinder. The 1.8 liter is good for 139 horsepower and then 126 foot-pounds of torque, whereas this 2 liter is good for 169 horsepower and then 151 foot-pounds of torque, with fuel economy being 32 around town and then 41 on the highway. This is normally where I go over the front end of the car, but I quickly want to show another one of these Corolla Nightshade editions because it's not black, so you actually can see the accenting. So it's somewhere in this kind of like whole mess. Oh, we got a tight squeeze here. And how about I quickly talk about why this is the Corolla TRD. So it is the same power outputs as a regular Corolla, but then it looks sportier, which that's pretty much all a TRD Camry is and a TRD Avalon. So they might as well call it the Corolla TRD so they can get more money for it, because it's just sportier looks without any more performance. And I found it. So right here, this is another Nightshade in silver, so you actually can see door handles are black, mirrors are black, wheels are all black, and then you've got the black on the front end, and then finally pop it around to the back. You got a little spoiler in black. The lights, they look pretty similar to a regular one, but you've got the little diffuser there that's black, and then all the badging in the rear is black. Anyways, let's head back to our car. Now, actually coming around to the front here, I've got all of the LED lights on so you can see that. I think that's a really neat look with the newer Corollas. Now, the Toyota logo up there also doubles as a sensor. This front grille is actually pretty massive. Just for how small the car is, it's a pretty big opening. Other than that though, I mean, it's nothing too complicated. Just design wise, it's kind of like this very sharp, more aggressive looking design, and here's kind of a little bit of a side angle on it. Coming around to the side here, we've got 18-inch wheels, 225mm tires in the front and in the rear. And again, like I said on the Nightshade, that is going to be completely blacked out. It actually would look pretty cool if you painted the brake caliper on this car. Mirrors are also all blacked out. Door handles are black like I showed you on the silver model, but since this car is black, you assume they're black anyways. But we actually are going to pop over to the other side so you guys can see, well, my shadow, but then also a side profile here on the Corolla Nightshade. Here's our key fob for the Corolla. So it's got the regular unlock and lock function, then it actually says Corolla on the back, which is nice. They have a little model specific key fob. But anyways, you do have remote start, so you have to lock it and then hold down that function. It takes a second. The lights will start flashing at you. There we go. Then it starts up and you can hear that 2 liter four-cylinder come to life. And then as always, if you just hold that down again, then it'll shut that off if you accidentally remote started it, I guess. Now, the hatch is just hydraulic in function, and you actually get a cargo cover from the factory, which is nice, Corolla specific matte, and then it even tells me what to do this time, which it's still not. There we go, user error. But yeah, spare tire, all that's going to be underneath that little area. In terms of cargo space, it's a pretty decent amount. The hatchback is going to give you a little bit more space in terms of height compared to the sedan. And then when you are all done, all you have to do is just throw it down because it's a hatch. Coming to the rear here, I actually really like the design in the back. I think this is my favorite part of the hatchback, is just everything in the rear end. So yes, all blacked out emblems like I showed you before. And then the taillights, I kind of like the little black part at the top there, but then just how it wraps around in that kind of sharp angle. I think that's a cool design touch. Diffuser, again, is all blacked out, and you got little exhaust tips in the rear just to make it look sportier, of course. And then here's your three-quarter angles. It cannot duck. Before I pull the door open, something I noticed in the paint is, I don't know if this is going to come through in camera very well, but they use kind of some blue metallic flake in this black paint, so it is actually looks really nice here in the sunlight. But actually opening up the door here in the rear, it's nice that they give you soft touch for the armrest itself, and then all black trim here in this area, which again is going to match with the exterior. Now here is the rear seats. We do still get a little cup holder pull-out thing right there. Just regular cloth seats here in the Nightshade Edition, and well, yes, I am going to step in, but it's going to be a little bit cramped. Oh, hopefully I got that on camera very well, but yeah, so legroom, I mean, yeah, I don't really need to say a whole lot in terms of that. But in terms of, oh geez, I'm knocking everything. Headroom, I'm about 5'11". I actually do have some headroom back here. It's just the legroom's gonna be a little bit cramped, but that's expected because this is a smaller size car. And at least I got this little storage pocket back here. You get keyless entry here at the front, so one touch to lock it. To unlock it, you just have to put your hand on the back of the door handle. There we go, and then it'll unlock. Now actually opening up, the door panel here in the front is going to be identical to what's in the rear. I really like the stitching here, definitely makes it look a little bit more upscale on the interior. All of your window controls, mirror controls are right there. And then here is the front driver's seat. So the material is identical to what's in the rear. You just have these nice bolsters on the side just to hold you in place a little bit. It is manually adjustable. For the seat itself, you got the pedal adjustments down there, a little light control there on the side. The steering wheel is also manually adjustable. And then here is one more look at the front before we pop in. To start with the Corolla hatch, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start. It's an interesting way to sweep, and that says Corolla over there, and then Toyota in the center screen. Here is our steering wheel for the Corolla hatchback. Now on the side over here, we've got all of our controls for the cruise control, and then you have this obviously to keep in the lane, and then you've got your collision assistance up front. That's for your radio system, and then that's also for the radio system with the voice commands. That is for the little center stack right there. In terms of the feeling of the steering wheel, it's actually pretty smooth. Does have black stitching on the center of the steering wheel. You get paddles to shift the gears yourself, and then there is the stock for the lights, and then windshield wiper on the other side. Here's a little gauge cluster. RPMs are on the left side. In the center, you've got the speedo with the fuel gauge at the bottom part of it, and then over here, you've got the little screen that you can scroll through a couple different menus. Basically just gives you information on the vehicle, so like fuel economy, stuff on the safety tech. You can see all that right there. And then if there's any messages that it has to give you, like warnings on the vehicle. But yeah, just pretty standard setup. Here's our center infotainment system. We're gonna pop it into reverse first and foremost. It's got a backup camera resolution on it. It's pretty good. Now actually going over the infotainment system, there's a bunch of buttons here on the side that you can press to go through different functions. When you actually press different controls on the touchscreen, well, if you actually press them, I didn't press is a problem there. But yeah, when you press controls, response time on it is actually pretty good. It does have a, oh, navigation is not installed, so I guess that you have to get navigation installed with some of the cars. But yeah, I feel like the infotainment system functions pretty well. Just below it is actually all of your climate controls, and chances are you might get these two mixed together, but probably not because they're completely different sizes. But yeah, you got the little climate dials, and they actually feel nice. So do the radio dials, just when you twist them. Just the actuation on them feels nice. All these buttons are nice as well, so it's good that they just made the feel of them nice. Got this random little storage space right there, and then here is the shifter for that CVT automatic. There is the little manual shift mode, so it'll mimic gears. And then there is a sport mode, which when I press that, it'll pop on right here. Sorry. So you guys can see that pops on green right there, which is interesting that it's green. Stability control is just right next to it. Your parking brakes here, then you got the auto hold. A couple more cup holders. The armrest here, which is actually pretty smooth to the touch. And then opening that up, you can see a couple more charging stations. And finally, more of that nice stitching on the dash, again, to make the interior just look nicer. There's your glove box, and it just randomly opened more. But yeah, that's it. Up top here, we've got a couple light controls. The whole headliner here is black, so it matches the bottom of the car. It's good that they made all of that match. Other than that, there's nothing fancy. I mean, you got regular sun visors, and yeah, it's just normal car up here. Now, wrapping things up on the interior of this Corolla Nightshade Edition, let's quickly go over pricing. So this particular Corolla Nightshade, stickers for about $23,000 for any type of market adjustment for, you know, being a fully loaded front wheel drive hatchback. I mean, it's right where it's supposed to be in the market. I mean, that segment's actually relatively competitive, so they all have to kind of bring their prices down as low as they can. But anyways, let's take this Corolla Nightshade package out to see how it drives. Before we set off here in the Corolla hatchback, I just want to talk about visibility first and foremost. Visibility of the hood, I mean, it just like, boom, right down. So good there. You can see visibility through both of the mirrors here in the hatchback. And then through the rear, it's actually really good. I mean, mostly smaller size cars, it's kind of hard to see out the back, but this one, they've got nice big windows all around, so it's relatively easy to see out of. And, oh, I already have it in drive. But let's set off in this Nightshade / TRD. I'm just gonna keep making that joke because, well, I can. Initially setting off here in the Corolla hatchback, I want to talk about road noise and ride quality per normal. So far the road noise is actually pretty minimal. I do hear a little bit of noise from the tires. Wind noise though is not really a thing. It's just mostly tire noise that you're going to hear, and hopefully that's coming through onto the camera. In terms of the ride quality, I gotta go over a couple more of these little things. Yeah, I mean, it soaks up the bumps pretty well. It's a nice smooth ride. It definitely, kind of ride quality standpoint, rides like it's a little bit of a bigger car, which isn't a negative thing. It's a good thing because it just kind of feels like it has like a nice, just smooth ride. And turning here, steering is super light. There's a little bit of vagueness, but it's relatively direct for what it is. I mean, this isn't supposed to be a sports car or anything like that, but the steering is exceptionally light. And yeah, going over a couple more things, yeah, nothing really upsets the car. It's pretty smooth over pretty much everything. We are turning here so we can get our massive acceleration. Yeah, I mean, it gets up to speed relatively quickly. It is a small, lightweight car, so it doesn't need a ton of power. Yeah, you've got to kind of wring out the engine a little bit, but I mean, for what this is, it gets really good gas mileage. I feel like people that are buying this car aren't really hungry for a ton of power, so it's more than enough for what you'd be looking for if you want a good car that basically gets really good fuel economy. And that actually leads me on to summing things up. This car is great if you want something that's really good fuel economy. Practicality is going to be a little bit better than the sedan just because it has the hatchback. And I mean, these really aren't that much more expensive than the sedan, so it's not like you're having to pay a huge premium to get the hatchback Corolla. I love the looks on it. Styling, I mean, it's really good in this car, actually. I really like the looks for it. Now, the only thing that I have to say is just, I mean, I wish that they offer this in four-wheel drive so that places here like, just get mad at me because I'm going over the line a little bit, but anyways, places like Utah where it gets a ton of snow, it'd be nice to have four-wheel drive. It's not a necessity in some circumstances, but it's be a nice little touch. But yeah, for the segment that this is in, it's a really solid offering. Toyota's made the interior a lot nicer, infotainment system's good. I mean, just everywhere around, it's a really well-rounded offering, and Toyotas are known to be super reliable, so it's a good, inexpensive car that will last someone or whoever ends up buying this a long time. And yeah, if you want something that looks a little bit cooler, get this Nightshade package. That is going to sum things up for our video on the 2020 Corolla Nightshade package. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Toyota here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the Corolla. Again, check out their inventory in the link below. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then I will see all of you in that next video.